We're gearing y'all up for some big smiles, lots of snacks, endless patience, and memories to last a lifetime.
It's all about the kids and the future of fishing here on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back, everyone, to one of my favorite shows of the season. And Rick, it's that time of year where we see the kids out there catching either their first fish and or catching lots of memories, or both.
You're absolutely right, Brie. And I can tell you, when I caught my first fish, I think I was 2.5 years old.
Oh.
It was a little bank runner bass about this big, and I had it on a push button reel. Turned around, it came up jumping. I turned around, put the pole over my back, and ran up the grass and never reeled anything.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was jumping and it scared me.
That's cute. Little Ricky. And you're still little. What happened?
I forgot to grow up.
All right. Well, we know that. Well, I know when my own kids reel them in, they're smiling and screaming and laughing no matter how big or what it is. And those are just the moments we live for as parents. Rick, I know you know that for sure. And I know Dave over at the workbench knows that too. He's got 3 little ones. And right?
Well, you know, they're not so little anymore.
They're not, but
No.
they were once, and they did like
They
to fish.
were, and they did, and they do. Well, kinda.
Kinda. We'll be talking about that a little later. But our captain of the Lower Coast region has shared plenty of his girls fishing memories with me. So Chad, let's hear how you get the youngins out there.
Tell you what's great, I love fishing with the kids and stuff like that. I got 3 daughters and I've got 3 nephews, so I mean, I've got a lot of clients that come down and actually just take the kids fishing with me because I do thoroughly enjoy it. It's always a great time, take the kids fishing. It's all where it starts at. Let them get to really enjoy the outdoors, and it's not all about catching the fish. It's about the whole ecosystem that kind of goes with it. If the bite's slow, you can kind of teach what else is going on. I'm not going to tell anybody how to raise their kids by any means, but my personal rule of thumb is when you take them out there, the fishing's really good, you get them on the fish, bite slows down or starts getting really too hot, they get a little cranky depending on their age, move on to something fun. Maybe go up the cut or the deeper water and look for some dolphins to move around, or you go up to your favorite little beach area and let them hang out there. If you see some sorghum, get in a bucket, they can play with shrimp and crabs and stuff in there, keep them entertained and teach them throughout the whole deal. You can also start them out. You don't need a deal. I started out on a pier and banks and stuff like that and was fishing all the time. You can start them out with bay fishing trips and the banks and the piers, and then go out to the offshore fishing and when they get ready to do that. And along the way, too, if you can, teach some really good ethics, part about respecting the whole ecosystem, how it works with the bait and the fish and the sizes. And, take what you want to like to eat also, and show them some good practice of catch and release and stuff like that, and they'll have a great time there. So I got a picture of my middle daughter here years ago when she caught a big old mangrove snapper on the shallow sport there, and I figured that was a good one to put in there, and she still remembers that one.
Boy, that's a big one, bud.
That's good stuff there. The kids take them fishing, they'll love it. So moving on to the inshore fishing, the redfish, guys have moved back around the lower coast jetties. It's been kind of a really early bite going on, so get out there early. You need to be patient since these groups of fish, they kind of move in and out all around the jetties. Throwing some live croakers, working really good out there. If you have some finger mullet, that's working really good there also. If you're using some lures, get a heavier Eagle Claw jig head, probably like a 3/4, even up to an ounce. Put a fish bite on it. Works really well, just kind of either vertical jigging or bouncing it on along the bottom and the rocks and all the washouts right there. There's been some oversized reds being caught quite a bit right there in those washouts and those eddies. And there's slot reds also mixed in there along the jetting. Like I said, it's kind of early there. Once it kind of slows down, then kind of move back into the bay system, or maybe go along the beachfront and chase some other stuff. Moving to offshore, we're going to switch to that because offshore fishing is really starting to turn on. The snapper fishing's always really been solid, but right now some tuna are starting to show up. Dorado, wahoo, billfish are getting out there deeper, and even dropping down for grouper and towel fish is on. So we're talking about the blackfin tuna, those deeper shrimp boats we mentioned a few weeks ago. They're out there. They're moving around. They're showing up. So some of those tuna are going to be on those deeper shrimp boats and some weed lines if you find any. There's good action on those tuna. When you hit those out there, if those shrimp boats are dragging, pull 3 lines behind her so you can maneuver in and out faster. About 7 to 8 knots works really good. If they're pull some Islander lures or mirror lure divers works really good. I've been using some of these new Savage lures. They're kind of heavily weighted and they run down deep like that, and they've just been working really good with those single hooks. You don't get any grass on them or nothing else like that, and the fish just crush them, and it works really good. If the boats are on the move and they're dragging on troll, just drag right by them. Pull up, give them some space and stuff, but you can pass right by them, pass all around. You'll find out where the fish are at. Just kind of repeat that, peel off. When you get a fish hooked up, you'll be in good shape there. If the boats are anchored up and you're in some deeper waters, and just pull right behind their transom, see what comes out to, on your baits and hit that stuff. They'll get aggressive in an early bite also. Now, got a picture of blackfin tuna here. This is Saltwater Charters. He's out of South Padre Island. They got into some tuna and some other species just here recently.
Nice.
So heading out to a deeper, in trolling. If you decide trolling, sometimes, you bring your hooker electric reel with you. Do some deep dropping for some towel fish. R&R tackle deep drop rigs. These things are made for this stuff. It works perfect. This combo is perfect for deep dropping these towels. Look for those fish. They're going to be in that mud area. They're going to be in that 1,000 to 1,100 foot of water for a rule of thumb. Set up a drift. We get some decent days out there and just drop straight to the bottom. These are 4 or 5 hook rigs. Using some small squid for bait. And you can also even try some strips of fish bites put on there. Let it lay in the bottom's kind of key, and wait for those little light bites. Got some braid on there on your hooker electric, and you'll see them bite. The towel fish are really great eating. They can be targeted, middle of the day. Also, when the bite slows down on the pelagic side, give you something for some table fare and some other stuff there. But got a beautiful picture of a big golden towel here from Radford Guide Service out of Port Mansfield from Jason Radford.
That is a beautiful fish, Chad. Thank you for starting us off this week. Strong report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the shallow sport boats hotspots in the lower coast region. He says inshore, the jetty has started to get good for redfish using live bait or maybe some fish bites. And then if you want to go offshore, start to kick off from the red snapper into the Dorado waters, blackfin tunas, and tilefish out on the deep drops.
All right, well, in the Startown Middle Fresh region, Matt Loescher is always showing off toothy grins on his boat. And I know, Matt, you are getting to experience taking your own kiddo fishing. So give us all some tips.
I sure will, Brie. Yeah, it's really exciting, having my 3-year-old son Fisher out there now. He's getting to that age where he really gets a good kick out of it when he catches a fish. Just any kid, when they catch those first fish especially, it just lights them up. It's just an amazing thing. It's really one of probably all of our favorite things to do as guides, is to have those kids on the boat. It's just a blast to have them around. They just make it so much fun. There's never a dull moment when the kids are on the boat. But we do have to be careful, about how we introduce them to the sport of fishing. Chad did a really good job talking about a lot of that. You just have to make it as much fun as possible when they go. I wanted to offer a few tips for making that happen. Specifically, if you're going on a guided trip. A lot of people want to take their kids on a guided trip. And that's a great idea. If you don't get to fish a lot, you want to take them out with a guide and, get somebody to help you get on the fish a little better. That's an awesome deal. Just make sure you communicate with the guide, about your expectations for the trip. Let them know that you're bringing the kids and, what ages they are and kind of, whether they've been out there before or not and kind of, what they're used to and what they're not and those kind of things. Don't just throw them out there on the boat, and expect them to do great because they're not used to that kind of stuff, especially if you're planning on being out there a long time. Don't keep them out there too long. Don't overdo it. And do whatever you can to get them catching. Even if it's not your target species, if you want to go for something different, just to get something to tug on their line, if it's fun for them, then let them have at it, and, just get out there and keep fun first and foremost, and don't take it too seriously. If you're making it all about the catching and for you, that's not the trip you want to bring the kids on, make the kids' trip about the kids and let them just really have fun so that the future of our sport will come up and grow up to continue wanting to do these things. And like Chad said, teach them how to take care of the environment and take care of the great fisheries that we have to offer out here. So, just keep fun first and foremost for sure.
Better keep going, bud.
Fun. We've got a picture here of my little boy Fisher there with a drum. And that's a perfect example of a fish that is not really our target species by any means most of the time. But he had a ball reeling that thing in, and he was just smiling ear to ear for catching that thing. So that's what you want to go do.
Nice picture, bud. All right, let's go quickly. Bass, you got to get moving.
Yes, sir. We're going to talk about the bass real quick at Richland Chambers. We got Thurman Selman up there at Bass Specialty Guide Service, always keeping us on them. He says the water level there has come down some more, and it's sitting around 6 inches below full now, and the temperature's crept up, even touching 90 at times. He says the fishing hasn't changed much, though, the past few weeks. The bass are still holding up in the creek channels. And he did add, though, that there's a dock pattern that has been working as well. He's catching some fish around the shady areas of those docks. that are close to deep water. And bass assassin worms are definitely his go-to right now for that. And green pumpkin has been the color on a shaky head. Now, Toledo Bend. The grass has been the story of the week here. As the water level kind of slowly creeps down like it typically does, and the summertime heat kicks in, that grass is growing out a little deeper. It's thriving, and the fish are loving to get in that shady grass. The water level's about 2 feet below now. Full now, water temperature's up in the 90s. And, this hydrilla is really doing a lot of good things. There's a lot of little fish living in it, so you can have some fun with that. And it does make it a little harder to get around, but guys, don't complain about that grass. Get up there and enjoy it and catch them in it, okay? Swim some swim baits around it, throw some worms around it, and have a good time with it. I've got a photo here for you of a good grass fish right here. That's a young man there named Jack with a good Toledo Bend bass he caught with my fellow guide, Mr. Kobe Cartinez.
Nice.
Now we're going to move over to the crappie real quick before we finish up. Sam Rayburn, still really hot for the crappie. The water level is about 2 feet below pool over there now. And the temperature, once again, it's in that upper 80s, low 90-degree range. The fish are continuing to stack up in their usual summering areas there, like the brush and the timber and the bridge pilings, about 15 to 25 feet of water. And they're really catching them good on jigs and minnows. Now, over here at Toledo Bend, the bite's been a bit of a roller coaster the past month or so. It's just been really up and down, but they're still hanging out in about 15 to 30 feet of water, timber, brush, and docks. And just being a little stingy, but put those minnows down there and you can catch them. And we're going to leave you with a photo there of a nice young man with a table full of big crappie.
And a big smile. Love it.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine System hotspots from the Middle Fresh region. Our man Matt said that we want to start off with bass fishing in Richland Chambers, and they are using the creek channels. Make sure you check those places out. The shady docks to take cover. Toledo Bend bass are enjoying the shady grass and a bite early and late. And then the crappie are stacking up on the trees at Sam Rayburn, biting jigs and live minnows.
I like some shady grass and a late bite myself.
I bet you do.
What? All right, stay tuned, kiddos. We've got our Lower Fresh Region guide ready with some summer fun. But first, Dave is showing us some rigs and technique tips over there for
for the
lots of fun,
kiddos.
too, for the
We're gonna-
kiddos.
how to get the kiddos out there and catch some fishes.
I like that you're keeping it simple, Dave.
Oh, very
That's
simple.
Good.
Very simple.
We'll be back.
That's about me.
Simple mind and simple man.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio Sunglasses. Blue light blocking. Radically clear lenses. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
I've got 15 things.
Got 15 things?
15
We're
things.
here at the workbench, and you
Oh.
got a lot of them to talk about right here
I'm
while
not
we're
gonna
doing
make
the
it.
rigs and techniques, so let's go to
Well, first off, if you're going to be in a boat, make sure that you follow all the rules for the boat and the kids. Any kid under 13 has to wear a life jacket when the boat is underway on every boat under 26 feet. Same way with a kayak or a paddle board or something like that. You have to wear it when you're underway. So make sure you do that. And if you're going to call that guide, like Matt was saying, you're going to call the guide and say, we got the kids coming, and he might have these kind of life jackets on board, which most of us guys do. We don't carry a whole lot of expensive life jackets. You want to make a kid squall, you put him in this thing for 10 minutes, he'll be squalling, because this thing is very uncomfortable. This is made for emergency. What you want to do is you get the vest type, the guys that wear skiing and zip up on them, and it's
Right.
tight, and it's not all in their face and everything.
Right.
It's very comfortable. They can't hardly walk around on the boat when they've got one of those. Go early or go real late, and that does two things. It puts you in the best time to be fishing, and it puts a natural time limit on things. If you go early in the morning, by the time the sun gets up high, it's time to quit. At nighttime, you go, a couple hours before sunset, fish until it gets dark. You got a natural time limit there, and that's a great thing to have because, once it stops being fun, it's time to go. It's time to go. Make sure you bring your sunscreen and your bug spray. I like to use the wipe-on kind if you can get it, especially with the sunscreen. You spray it on the boat, it goes everywhere. This stuff, DEET is the most repulsive things to fish. So if you can get the little wipes to wipe the kids down to keep that stuff. That's a great thing.
And pay attention to where they're spraying it, because if it gets in your live well, adios.
Yes. Use the hair hooks, O'Shaughnessy hair hooks. These are some, I think those are 12s. They're really small and with a long shank on them. And what that long shank does, is because that hook's so small and a little brim or whatever is so small, that's got a little piece of fish bites on it. That long shank allows you to get that hook out a lot easier than if you were using a little tiny short shank hook on those little fishes.
Right.
Try to make sure that they can catch something. Go to a dock or a boat ramp or something where the fish get fed a lot, because that makes them easy to catch. You throw a couple pieces of bread in there, and then that fish bites on that that number 12.
Right.
You're gonna catch the fish.
Bobbers.
Bobbers are great. There was a reason why we grew up using bobbers. A kid can fixate on the bobber. He can look at the bobber and see what it does and react when something happens.
Right.
And for little smaller kids, that's what you need. Once they get a little older, you can start using other stuff
Like popping lures, shaking heads.
things that you can throw out and reel back to you.
Yeah.
That you don't want it to.
Spinnerbaits.
Yes, any paddle tails. Let them do as much or as little as the kids want to do. But to me, it was way easier, because I was always a hyperactive kid, to be moving.
You're still a hyperactive
Yeah, I'm a little
kid.
hyperactive, but to be moving, moving all the time. I wanted to be reeling and cranking.
Spoons?
You can also spoons are the same thing. A spoon works in freshwater and saltwater. Again, you throw it out, reel it back to you.
So Dave, when they first get started, preferred type of tackle?
I like a spin cast, like this one. We're going to talk about it in new products later. But something, that fits their size, their hands and everything. All kids are different. I can't tell you that a 6-year-old, your 6-year-old is going to be the same as mine. They all develop at different rates, their hand-eye coordination and everything else. This allows them to get that overhand cast down, let go, and it trains them. If you can start on the little spin
it's so
cast.
simple. You just push the button.
Push the button. And
Letting the button
don't
go.
have a lot of tangles and whatnot to mess with during the day.
Yeah.
And that's just the way to go. You go from here, then to a spinning reel, and then to a bait caster is what I would recommend. Use mono. Use light mono. Don't use braid when you're teaching kids how to fish. The braid is not kid friendly. Especially little kids, once they get 12, 13 years old. Once they get old enough to get a pair of clippers and cut themselves out of it, that's when they can start using braid.
Right.
Because it can cut you really bad, and it's very limp and limber and can get tangled up real easily.
So what about food, Dave?
Well, you always bring enough food for everybody.
Lots of snacks,
A lot
right?
of stuff to eat, to drink, especially in Florida in the summertime. Keep them hydrated.
Texas
Texas
hot
too,
into summer,
correct.
yeah.
It gets hot. So just try to make sure that you keep them hydrated, keep them busy.
Do you put a time limit on it?
It depends on the kids. Sometimes you say, hey, we'll fish for 2 hours. I always try to tell them that that's what we're going to do, so that they know ahead of time. This is what we're going to do. This is when we're going to leave, and it seems to work out a lot better that way than just hanging out until whenever.
Right.
If you have a time to go and a time to leave, makes everything a lot smoother.
The one thing I can tell you with my kids is live bait was a huge part of it.
Yes.
So whether you're fishing with crickets, whether you're fishing with worms or shiners, or if you're offshore, shrimp, crabs, what I mean?
They're fun to play with.
Yeah.
They're fun to catch.
And let
they're fun
them
to
play in
with.
the live well, guys.
Yes.
It's got to be a good experience. Otherwise, they'll never want to go back.
That's right.
Good work over here, bud.
Yeah, no worries.
I even learned some more stuff.
I completely agree. I think my kids have played more with the live well and the bait rather than catching a fish, and it's probably been about 15 minutes all time fishing.
There you
All right,
go.
Matt Reed is always putting those big smiles on some big old fish. So let's see what's biting on Lake Falcon, Choke Canyon, Fayette County, and Somerville before the heat sets in.
All right, Brie, let's start off. We're going to talk about kids for a little while as we kick this thing off. Some of my favorite trips involve kids. I love to get them in the boat. It's just a blast just to see their desire to learn. And you see the whole spectrum of interests. So cater your day to meet their desires. Young ones definitely need to get bites, just like what y'all are talking about. So I try to target bluegill or other panfish to keep them engaged. Earthworms or crickets are great. As they get a little more experience, white bass are the perfect step up because they school and they feed aggressively. So anything that looks like a shad, you can throw it out there and wind it back, and they're plentiful and willing to bite. As the kids get older, they may choose to dive into the largemouth bass world. You know, that's a difficult transition to make because it requires a ton of patience. But a lot of these youngsters have a big desire to conquer that challenge. I truly love trying to help shorten their learning curve. But no matter the level of fishing skill the youngsters have, get them out on the water. Hopefully the outdoor world sticks with them for life. You know, that's just a great place for them to be.
Yep.
Got a picture there with 2 pictures of kids from that Kurt Does Pro Bass Kids Camp. That's one of the events I love doing every year. I do both sessions, and there'll be approximately 60 kids there during those 2 sessions, and we just have a blast. It's a great learning experience for the kids, and it's a great experience for us old codgers teaching them.
Yeah, we love the pictures. Thank you so much for sharing those with us, bud. Tell us about the bass fishing.
All right, we got Falcon Lake. The bass are beginning to cooperate a bit better. Main lake rock structure and man-made brush piles are the 2 main patterns. On the rocks, I'm throwing a big shaky head and a Carolina rig, also football jigs and crankbaits. Those are all generating a few bites. The brush pile fish, definitely a Texas rig big worm is your go-to, technique there. Plum apple, blue fleck are my favorite colors. Mike Bates sends a report from Choke Canyon. He says the dog days of summers have definitely set in. Morning, it's not all that hot, but from noon on, it gets to be a scorcher. This week, his numbers have been pretty good, 20 to 30 fish on half-day trips, up to about 6 pounds. Early morning bite in the shallow water is still good. Lasts till about 8:30 or 9. That just depends on the clouds and the wind. Buzz baits, prop baits, frogs, swim baits, and jerk shad have been working really well. Best thing to try to do is cover as much water as you can so you can run over a group of them. The rest of the day's been pretty tough. Try Texas rig generals out in that 10 to 15 foot of water around rocks. Greg Boyk sent a report for Somerville. It's been slow. He says the largemouth, the ones you can get to bite are on isolated brush and rock piles in that 12 to 18 foot range. Black, plum, and blue fleck 10-inch worms have been the best bite. Fayette County, it's just a repeat. We're stuck in that summer pattern. Your best bet's out deep on the main lake points and drop-offs. Also road beds with a Carolina rig jerk shad or a big worm at 12 to 18 feet of water. There's some scattered groups of fish in the discharge. It's amazing they can stand it in there. The water temperature in that hot water discharge right now is about 112 degrees.
Oh,
they
wow.
feed in there, and they come in, feed, and go back out and take a breath.
Wow.
Got a bass picture here of Mike Bates with one of his Choke Canyon specials from this week.
Nice. All right, tell us about the catfish there, bub.
Got a little catfish going on. Ram Reyes in report from down at Falcon. The catfish have been really good off the creek channels on the flats early and late. Cut bait has been the best, the best way to catch them. Limits of blue cat and channel cat have been being caught that way. Also, shrimp and stink bait has caught them. One of the key things is look for the birds, the cormorants and stuff sitting in the trees. The blooming catfish love to get around where those birds have been. Catching the trophy-sized blue cat, they're out on the river channel. Big, fresh cut shad is your best bait.
All right, bud.
Picture him with one of his clients with a big old blue cat.
That's so nice. Thank you so much for the pictures this week, bub. How you looking on your pre-fishing? You looking good?
Oh, well, tournament days was today to start with, in 5th place in the first day.
That's what we like to hear. All right, we'll light those fish prayer candles for you, bub, till you take home the win. All right, man, we'll talk to you in a couple days. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and look at the hot spots from the lower fresh region. That's our man in 5th place there, Brie. Fayette County bass are playing nice. Concentrate on the lake, main lake points, and road beds to locate the schools. And Carolina jerk shads and heavy shaky heads are the best producers. And to get out and find a group of these fish, and you will forget about the heat, Brie.
Every fish right now to my 2-year-old is shashish. Well,
Shashish.
really nice shashish. It's a catfish.
Oh.
Yeah, 2-year-old talk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My 5-year-old asked me how I understand it, and I have no idea. All right, the fun is just beginning in the Fish Bites Middle Coast and Front Runner Boats Upper Coast regions, so grab your snackle box, and we'll be right back. But before we go, make sure to take a look at the QR code on your screen. Where is it? Where is it? There it is, for an all-access pass to our social media outlets where you can like and follow our Instagram and Facebook pages, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, Captain Rick Murphy. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. Tin Cup, Mountain Whiskey. Shallow Sport, the Texas legend. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. And Penn, let the battle begin.
All right, guys, today's power pole tip is what I call the springback. You know, in bass fishing, a lot of times I'm looking for bass on beds, I'm looking for underwater grass beds, structure, and as I'm cruising around and I see something real close to the boat, the worst thing you can do is reverse the trolling motor. I'll use the power poles to spring me back. Check it out. Like right now, there's a nice little patch of grass with a bed on it. Power poles are going down, power poles are down. I'm letting the boat load, letting it load up now. I spring it back, power poles up. Let the boat get the weight of the boat and bring the power poles up. Now look, I'm back, I haven't touched the trolling motor one time. Now if that's a fish on a bed right there, which I can see the bed, I didn't spook him, okay? Didn't have to hit the trolling motor. Now I can redeploy the power poles. I'm in the perfect position now to catch that fish. So guys, that is your power pole tip of the week.
Hey, it's all about the spring back.
Those are some
You heard him right
smooth
there.
moves right there, let me tell you. All right,
moves.
when it comes to getting the kids fishing and loving it, our Fish Bites Middle Coast Region Captain Bing Grimes has it down pat. So tell us how it's done, Bing.
Yeah, I like the kids. I love the kids. Summer's winding down for most, and we've been getting calls for one last fishing trip for the kids before school starts here in Texas in mid-August. We like the kids on the boat. Those kids, one day they're going to be adults, and they're going to remember this. I remember all my young fishing trips, and you just remember things and like that. And they're going to be adults one day, and they're going to want to take their kids. We just try to keep it fun, play casting games, teach the little things, always knowing where your hook is before you cast. So we try to keep the action going at all times, and we try not to put any hooks in anybody, and so you got to do surgery. You know, you don't want to do that. Put an earring in somebody there. So you try to keep them going all the time. Hook a fish, hand it off to a kid. Mom and dad do the same. Take a break, eat a sandwich, drink a water, talk about it. Keep the trips 3 to 4 hours. Keep their attention span. Take a lot of pictures. My wife and I always talk about the time we drove to Louisiana with my daughter. We toured a bunch of college campuses, fished the marshes of Venice. We still got pictures on our wall of those big redfish we caught there, and it's just memories that just last for, forever. It's been here lately. It's been early to the dock to beat the heat. West Matagorda Bay remains steady for trout. The grass beds are holding good trout on the incoming tide on Bass Assassins and Mirror soft eyes, sheep pups as well. Port O'Connor's been just as hot. Deep reefs in San Antonio Bay, much like East Matagorda Bay, are holding trout on the edges. There's hundreds of reefs in the middle of the bay there, and most of those captains are just hopping from one to the other. Lynn Smith, he's enjoyed waiting the incoming tide around Pass Cavallo. That's what I'll be doing a lot this week, working those grass and sand flats around Port O'Connor. Find a pile of shell in 5 foot of water, and we're throwing top waters. Raymond Shoals Reef, Pipeline, Log, and Tripod. Those are all been great spots at East Matagorda Bay. Waders, they've released the same size trout around Half Moon, Free Beacon, and Drill's Lump. It's been our winds are finally starting to calm down a little bit. Water's getting green, and it's been a good bite on those mid-bay reefs. Rockport anglers have been catching trout with Bass Assassins rigged on 1/8 ounce jig head. Guts is on the edge of sand and grass have been holding most of the trout. Top waters have been good around Super Flats and Mud Island. Redfish action improved this week. Lots of slot-sized reds have pulled off the shoreline, found refuge in the middle of East Matagorda Bay. The pattern's been to look for slicks and then drift behind them. When you get into a big herd, power pole down, work the area. What would we do without our power poles? There's just many days when we've had all kinds of reds Every rod was bent with red. We got really, really low tides right now, so all those reds are in the middle of the bay. We've set it for a month, but I've never seen our tide this low for this long during the summertime. There are a lot of slot-sized reds at the Matagorda Jetty. This year, there's wads of big menhaden coming in from the Gulf, and those redfish are following them. Same holding true at Port Aransas and Freeport and the Port O'Connor Jetty. Don't be surprised if Gulf trout show on the same locales. They're hardy fighters, an excellent table fare, and they take a lot of pressure off our speckled trout. A large Gulf trout will weigh 2 pounds. Don't be surprised you get a 3-pounder as well. They eat live shrimp, and they like low plastic. There's a photo. We want to keep the kids happy and active. Take pictures, have a good time with them, make memories with them, put those pictures on the wall so they can see them forever. Offshore, the Gulf season, shrimp season opened a couple of weeks ago. Better action for kingfish has been good because those shrimp boats are out there. They're culling, and those those kingfish are following those shrimp boats. Guide Michael Quebeca said the weed lines are holding lots of Dorado. He's trolling rig ballyhoo and deep diving crankbait. A lot of little chicken dolphins on that the weeds as well. A lot of triple tail as well. They're up to 30, 31 pounds this past week. Just some awesome triple tail. Tarpon are beginning to show as those rafts of menhaden are showing on our beach. Like I said, our beachfront is running 1 to 2 foot on our wave heights, and it's made it a little bit easier to chase those tarpon. That's another solid week on that the Fish Bites Middle Coast region. Take care of our bays, please. Release more than you take, and just treat it like it's your own backyard, and things will work out right along our Texas coast.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. Great report from the Fish Bites Middle Coast region. We're going to go and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots. As Bink says, the trout are good at the city slickers near Port O'Connor on red shads and hot chicken bass assassins. And then redfish are best while drifting the slicks in the middle of East Matagorda Bay. Use live shrimp for them.
All right, well, once you're hooked for life, and we're getting them out there when they're itty-bitty kitties in the front runner boats, Upper Coast region. So, Captain Weston, let's take them fishing.
All right, guys, kicking off this week talking about our future, and by that we mean our kids. We're talking, children are truly the future of our sport. And I think it's our job as anglers to teach them about conservation and raise them right when it comes to those issues. Now, my dad and mother instilled the love of fishing in me and my siblings when I was really young. So as long as I can remember, we've been fishing. And I try to do the same, with kids. Every kid that comes on my boat, I try to give them that same love for the sport, opportunity to build memories, like Bink was saying, and witness, those big smiles is really rewarding to see as little kids get so happy. These days, it's really hot. Try to keep these, a little shorter day, plenty of cold drinks and snacks on board, lots of sunblock, sunglasses, and properly sized PFD. Remember that. The younger crew members really enjoy that new Taco Marine shade pen we have right now. Our 5-year-old Braven, she loves it. I think she believes it's hers right now. She'll sit back. I put a little piece of Fish Bites on the rod, man. She's ready to go. And these days, like I say, been hitting the triple digits. This heat is a little overwhelming. Keep these little guys hydrated. Have snacks, food, run shorter days if you need to. Make it enjoyable for them because you don't want to, taint them on it by having them get too hot. Today we got a picture of our little Braven making some fish memories with her new pen Fathom Reel.
Nice.
Cutie.
All right, tell us about the black drum, bub.
Well, the black drum bite has picked up in the past few weeks, and like we talked about, I don't know, this water temp keeps warming up. This usually would knock the bite down a little bit, but these fish are still here. There's a lot of them. That fishery seems to be very healthy in our Upper Coast. So, go out and get some. That fish bite chunks and shrimp flavor has been one of the favorites. Talking to the guys this week, the black drum really seem to love it. They also feed on a variety of cut baits. These fish can be funny sometimes, hard to catch, easy to catch, but most sunny days you'll find them feeding back in the grass flats or in those little potholes in the backwater area. Every once in a while you get a real big one back in there too. Back in there around those rocks, they chase shrimp and crabs and everything back there. So now, juvenile black drum sometimes will be mistaken for a little sheep's head at first glance. But as you catch them more the markings will, you'll see they'll disappear as they get older, and you'll start to differentiate them, between the two fish. So when I'm fishing, I go back to a tried and true slip rig for these fish. I cut a 3-foot piece of diamond, 30-pound leader, about a 5/0 trocar hook. I normally use about a 3 to 5 ounce egg sinker. Then I'm ready to go fishing. I believe black drum that go, like we talked about, get over 4 to 6 pounds. They're not really great to eat. So release these fish back. They're fun to catch. And little anglers, this is really fun too, because you can catch them from most banks, areas, stuff like that. And today, we have a picture of our little man with a nice juvenile black drum, as we're talking about.
Nice.
Oh, look at that smile. He's so
What else you
happy.
got for us this week,
Yeah.
Carl?
We're talking about Dorado, Rick. I have to tell you, you bring Dion's and I'll bring you the chicken of the sea. We'll have some tacos, because this week it's slicking up. The grass lines are coming together. It's hot, but man, the fish they're there. They're coming together finally in bigger schools. Shrimping season's in full swing, like we were talking about. And that means that when we're out in that blue water, you're going to find these fish hanging around the boats during the day when they're culling. These little chickens become so much fun to catch. We were fishing an 80-foot the other day, and it was crystal clear cobalt water. You could see the little guys down to 30, 40 feet. So I was throwing an eagle claw treble hook rigged with a small piece of squid or fish bites. To me, even the fish bites is kind of cool. Once you get them into a little frenzy, you can just catch one after another on the same piece of bait, and you can wear yourself out or wear your first mate out, clean the boat, whichever comes first. But as I we're saying, better have some Starbright on board. After you get us through a school with them, you're going to need it. And so, like we were talking about before, Dorado, they're a little cannibalistic. So anything bright green, they like orange. If you like to troll, on our tackle makes a great mahi magnet. That's been our go-to when we're trolling, and really brings them to the boat, guys. We have another picture today of some young anglers, cousins Wyatt and Easton, showing off their mahis they caught.
Nice. Look at those little men. All right, what else you got for us, bub?
Okay, we're red snapper once again. They're hot. Everybody's catching them. Still in season, so get out there if you haven't. Perfect offshore fish for kids. It really is. Up to a teenage age, because they're easier to catch. There's a lot of them. It keeps their interest. This week's been a little different. Been quite a few kids in the water for their first offshore experience that I've seen, which is really cool. I love to see that. We were fishing yesterday in about 130 foot of water, guys, and we pulled up some nice sized fish up to 31, 35 inches. Now, that's not easy for a young angler, but you can come all the way back inshore now into, like I said, 75, 80, 90 feet, catch the smaller fish. Use that regular slip rig like we talked about earlier, with about an 8-ounce eagle claw hook. Don't forget to tip your bait with some easy strips. I've been using the squid flavor. And here's a great picture today. Elsie with her first snapper, first time offshore ever. Check this picture out, guys.
Wow, that's
Fish
so
kiss
cool.
face.
There
Love
she
it.
goes. All right, dude, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Upper Coast hotspots from Carl's region. Captain Carl says we're going to be targeting black drum along the grass flats and the rock piles and piers using a 3-foot piece of diamond 30-pound leader tied on a 5/0 trocar J-hook and a 3 to 5 ounce egg sinker. And then offshore, targeting Dorados about 25 miles offshore and 80 feet of water. Try throwing an eagle claw treble hook tipped with some squid, or maybe even a small piece of fish bites and squid flavor behind those shrimp boats.
My 5-year-old Mia has just made that face with the mahi we caught the other weekend. This face. I wonder where she learned that from. You. Okay. Not me, it's me. All right, the topic of shark depredation has been a major focus in fisheries management circles for a number of years. We talked about it for the last 2 weeks. We're going to keep talking about it. CCA has partnered with organizations to endorse legislation that calls for the establishment of a task force on shark depredation that would be responsible for improving coordination and communication across the fisheries management community, as well as identifying research priorities and funding opportunities. Head to ccaflorida.org/sharked ACT or scan the QR code to find the Shark Act letter to send to Congress to support this cause. Please. All right, the Upper Fresh region is making some memories with us next, but first, Dave Farrell is showing us some Taco Marine new products that will also make some lasting impressions, like those itty-bitty shorts.
Yes, boy. It'd be nice to fit in those again.
Wouldn't it, though?
Those are my size, right, Dave?
Yeah, I think they are.
They're cute.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Fish to Win. Fenwick, feel everything. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Island Lures, tournament tackle. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Miro lure. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. And Startron, start, run, and store with Startron.
Dave, I am ready to troll the edge with Taco Marine and our new products, so let's just get to it.
All right, we're going to start there with the Ugly Stick. I think I just reached puberty. This is the Ugly Stick Highlight Spin Cast Combo. It's great for kids or adults. When you pick this up, you know, you feel a lot of little kid stuff. This is not a little kid stuff. It's just things made out of metal. It's not made out of plastic. You know, so it'll last more than 2 trips. They come in a blue, a green, an orange, and a red.
Right.
And the Ugly Stick clear tip design, and it's got the Ugly Tech structures. You know, fiberglass. It's 2-piece, 6-piece, 6 foot. It's got all stainless guides, and they're all 1-piece guides, so you don't have to worry about the inserts coming out.
2-piece rod.
Yeah,
so you take it apart.
Right, and store it. Which,
in the car.
Exactly. This little reel here, it's got 3 ball bearings. It's got the stainless steel front and the rear cover there. It's got a really nice drag system. You can change it to left or right hand, which is unusual for a spin cast. It's got 10-pound line spooled on it. Comes with a bait clicker. You know, it's a great little reel to start with for sure. And and if you wanted to be a panfish guy, that'd probably be the best bet for you.
I think I want to take this and try to catch a grouper on it.
Exactly. That'd
be so
That's
cool.
the fun, of fishing with that
rod.
stuff. Purefishing.com to go get that. Next, we're going to do some fish bites. These are the new Easy Shrimp and Easy Flea. These are the longer lasting scent. They're thicker and last a lot longer, more scent. All you need is a little sharp pair of scissors. You can cut those into any shape or size that you want. They're a 1/2 inch by 12-inch strips inside there.
Right.
So, you can cut them all down to whatever you want. And they can be used as a trailer. You can put them on a jig head, catch flounder with them, which I've done. Or just put it on a bare hook and catch everything. I use them in the surf all the time. They keep them soft baits on because they have a nice mesh inside. You put that on the hook, it does not come off. Even if you throw your bait off, you still have a bait, because they'll come up and eat that. As a matter of fact, I don't even know why I buy bait, because once I run out, I still catch them on these.
That's exactly right.
It stays on no matter what's pecking at it. So get one of those.
All right.
Fishbites.com.
Last but not least,
We got a lot of AFTCO youth clothing.
where do you want to start?
We're going to start with that shirt right there, that short sleeve T-shirt. That's the youth's best friend. It's got a little dog on there. Comfortable, durable. It's 100% cotton. Just a regular T-shirt, perfect for a kid. Active fit too. They're a little bigger, so great for being outside. Next, we got the printed.
It'll fit, Dave.
Yeah, it might be. If you want to make Mama happy. Next, we got the Youth Strike printed swim shorts there. These are the Motley Crawl, Molting Crawl. I'm sorry, Motley Crawl. They're 92% recycled polyester and 8% spandex. They got a UPF 50. They're stain resistant. They got the elastic waist with the outside drawstring, 5.5-inch inseam and a 16.5-inch outseam. So perfect little kid shorts. We got the Youth Landlock shorts. These are made for a little kid walking down the dock and whatnot. They're still good for the water though. 68% stretch, twill cotton, 28% poly, and 4% spandex. They got the 4-way stretch. They're really comfortable, and they have 2 pockets in the front for the hands and a little pocket in the back for their wallet.
All right, and everybody's always worried about sun protection. Let's talk about this.
Well,
Dave.
this is the Youth Tactical Camo hooded long sleeve, and it's 88% poly and 12% spandex. Got an SPF of 50, so it's going to a long sleeve as well, so it's going to cover you up. Got a nice hood on it. Obviously, keep the sun off your face and your head. It's got a sublimation print on there, so you don't feel it.
Right.
It's in the fabric, so they're really nice to get.
We have some
for
guests,
the little kids.
We have some guests staying at the house. I promise, I'm gonna put this on in the driveway.
There you go.
With this shirt, and I'm gonna walk in.
That's gonna be hilarious.
And I'll take a picture
Fat
for you.
guy
and
in
Brie.
a little coat.
Oh my gosh. just send
Where do
that
we go
all
to
of us.
find this AFCO stuff?
AFCO.com.
AFCO.com. I don't know how you kept a straight face with all that, Dave. I was losing it over here. All right, the Upper Fresh region is the perfect place to get out on Lake Athens, Ray Hubbard, Possum Kingdom, Levon, and of course Fork before the summer ends with Mike McFarland. Talk to us.
Hey, Brie. Hey, Captain. Hey, everybody. Dave. Let's talk about kids fishing first. These days I'm so happy to see a lot of youth fishermen getting into the sport and it's more and more. You're seeing a lot of youth fisher gals as well as boys. But taking a child fishing can honestly be one of the best rewarding experiences and the most healthy experience for both the child and the adult. A great day shared together you're going to create a closer bond. You're going to learn things together, and you're going to make memories for a lifetime. One of my favorite guide trips, honestly, is to have a father and son or father and daughter, believe it or not, and not to rule out sometimes mother and son, or I've even had mother and daughter, which has been so cool. And it's just, again, memories of a lifetime. It's a great sport where there's no limitations, so everyone's welcome. And listen, I promise you that the next time you're planning a trip, don't leave your son or your daughter on the couch and say goodbye and go fishing for the day. Bring them along with you. You'll have an experience you never forget. I'll give you a couple quick tips that are really important, though. If you got a real little one, a young one, and fishing for the first time, don't go fish for something big right away. You don't want something that pulls real hard. It'll scare them. A little brim or just a small experience and short experiences. Half an hour, hour and a half max. And you'll get them hooked in something that you'll treasure for the rest of your life. But let's tell you about some fishing. Largemouth bass on Ray Hubbard with my good friend Joe Shipley. Temperatures are 86 to 88. Trick worms like the Bass Assassin, tap-out worm, or the little tapper. Those are finesse worms used on a drop shot rig or shaky head rig. That's the ticket right now on Hubbard. Point, rock piles, marina structures, and your best colors are watermelon red or red bug. Possum Kingdom with Pete Hernandez. The bass continue to be really good topwater bites about an hour before daybreak on the green dock lights. The best bait there is a popper, and I really like the Berkeley Bullet Pop in bone white or black. At nighttime, sometimes black even, believe it or not. It's whatever the case, they're on those green lights. It works great. Once the sun moves up, move out to those rock piles in 15 to 25 feet of water. Again, you got your big worms, your 10 to 12-inch worms. I like the Bass Assassin. It's called an assassin worm. It's an 11-inch worm. Just Texas rig it. Best colors are color purple, plum apple, or red shad. Levon with Kerry Thorne. Texas rigs and jigs. Spinner baits real early. The fish are scattered there 5 to 25 feet around the brush piles, concrete, riprap shorelines. Just got to kind of cover it all and mix it up through the day. And don't forget don't overlook the road beds. Anything deep, like your deep road beds and deep rock piles later in the day, are going to have some bigger schools of grouped up hungry bass. Lake Fork, my favorite home lake. Fish are very shallow early, 2 to 5 feet around green vegetation. Spinner baits and chatter baits and chartreuse and white with paddle tail swim baits are working really good. Once that bite fades on you, move out to 16 to 22 feet. Use Carolina rigs, like the Carolina rig Bass Assassin called the Vapor Shad. It's a really cool shad style bait, color watermelon red, or one of my favorite colors on Fork, Houdini. And then, of course, big worms, you can really kind of mix it up. You can do the Bass Assassin tap-out worm, which is a 7.5-inch worm, or you can go all the way up to the Bass Assassin worm, which is an 11-inch worm. The Texas rigs and shaky heads, those are really the ticket for the bass later in the day. My favorite color is red shad, and here's a great big bass I caught on a red shad worm.
Nice.
Woo.
All right, Bub, you got about a minute left. Go ahead.
Crappie fishing on Levon with Kerry Thorne, it's good. You're basically going to need minnows. Summertime, the crappie get real finicky, and minnows are the ticket. 1/16 ounce to 1/8 ounce jigs, white or black, but tip them with a minnow. Fish are timber in 15 to 20 feet. Same kind of thing here on Fork with Jackie Wiggins. He said the dog days are summer here. You just got to move around a lot. Don't sit on any fish that aren't biting. Keep moving until you find fish that bite. And if As soon as they stop biting, move again and find more. But again, the pressured fish are hard on fork right now. You got to work for it. Here's Jackie with a day's catch. Some happy clients still putting them in the boat. Live minnows is your ticket.
Tell me real quickly about the white bass on the slab spoons.
Slab spoons on Levon and Tawakoni, both places. It's a really cool bite, 1 to 2 ounce slab spoon. If you'll actually tie a marabou jig about 18 inches above that, you can double up. You can catch 2 fish at one time. What happens is they'll hit the spoon, and while they're swimming around fighting, that other marabou jig gets hit by a secondary fish. Your best depths are 15 to 20 feet. It's a lot of fun. Levon's better than Tawakoni.
All right, bub, we got a great picture here, but we got to go. I'll see you later. We're going to take a look at the hot spots from the Upper Fresh region. He says Lake Athens is the place to be right now. Big schools of bass are chasing bait offshore in the open water, and the topwater bite has been incredible. The surface activity begins at daybreak and on some days continues well into midday. Popping topwater lures like the Berkeley Bullet Pop are working best, but always have a 3/8 underspin with a small 3-inch paddle tail swim bait available to reach some of those fish that are just below the surface, Brie.
All right, well, there you have it. The kids are out there fishing. We got those big smiles. That's always
You know what
good
else we
times.
got?
What do we have?
Put your fingernails up here real quick.
Oh, I guess
Somebody
I'm
get it.
popular with
Look
the
at
ugly
how
stick
your
here.
ugly stick and your
Chartreuse
fingernails
neon green highlight
match
series.
perfectly.
It's the summer color, I guess.
job.
Here we go. This is how
I
we
like
catch
it.
fish. Can I get a
Who'da
Knuckles?
known?
Get those kids out there. We'll see you next week. Bye. Mwah.